Admiral Lee Hyun stood at the observation deck of the Terran Defense Station, watching children from 12 different worlds play together in the zero-gravity playground. Their laughter echoed through the halls where once, long ago, soldiers had marched to war. Now those same halls housed art galleries, libraries, and peaceful research centers. Today marked exactly 5,000 years since the last shot had been fired in anger anywhere in human space. The final war, as historians called it, had ended when humans simply decided they were tired of fighting. No great victory, no crushing defeat, just a collective decision that there had to be a better way. "Admiral," called Dr. Park Mira from behind him. She approached with her usual cheerful smile, carrying a data pad filled with reports about cultural exchange programs. "The celebration preparations are going well. The Centauri dancers arrived this morning, and the Mars Symphony Orchestra just finished their sound check." Lee Hyun smiled back. His title of admiral was mostly ceremonial now. The Terran Defense Archives, which he commanded, was really just a museum and historical society. They maintained old weapons and ships not because anyone expected to use them, but because forgetting the past seemed dangerous. "Any word from the outer colonies?" he asked. "All peaceful," Mira replied. "The Kepler colonies just finished their harvest festival, and the Alpha Centauri stations are hosting a poetry competition. Oh, and the deep space exploration teams found 3 new habitable worlds this month." Humanity had spread across 200,000 star systems during the long peace. They built cities on distant worlds, created art that spanned solar systems, and solved problems that had puzzled them for centuries. Without war to worry about, human creativity had exploded into amazing achievements. Engineer Kim Jun appeared around the corner, covered in grease and grinning widely. He had been working on the new transportation system that would carry visitors between Earth's continents in minutes, instead of hours. "Lee, Mira, you have to see what we finished today. The Singapore to Stockholm tunnel is working perfectly. People can have breakfast in Asia and lunch in Europe. This was typical of human civilization now. They built impossible things just because they could. They connected worlds with bridges of light, created art from living starfire, and wrote poetry that could only be read in zero gravity." War seemed like something from a bad dream. Captain Yoon Hana walked up to their group, her exploration uniform still dusty from her latest mission to the galaxy's edge. She had just returned from mapping new star systems where humans might one day build homes. "The celebration is starting in the main hall," she announced. "They want all department heads present for the anniversary speech." The main hall of the defense station had been decorated for the celebration. Banners from 1,000 worlds hung from the ceiling, each one representing a different human colony. Musicians from across the galaxy played instruments that created music in colors as well as sounds. Children who had never seen conflict drew pictures of the peaceful future they expected to inherit. The ceremony began with the traditional reading of the Peace Accords, the document that had ended humanity's last war. The words were simple: "We choose to build instead of destroy. We choose to explore instead of conquer. We choose to create instead of kill." Lee Hyun was about to give his yearly speech about remembering history when the alarm started ringing. Everyone in the hall looked around in confusion. These alarms had not sounded for 5,000 years. Most people had never heard them before. Some children started crying because the noise scared them. "What's happening?" Mira asked, her voice full of worry. Lee Hyun's communication device buzzed with an emergency message. He read it quickly, then read it again because he could not believe what it said. "There's a fleet approaching Earth," he announced to the silent hall. "A large fleet. They're sending us a message." The main display screen activated, showing the image of an alien creature unlike anything humans had ever seen. It had gray skin, multiple eyes, and spoke in a voice that sounded like grinding metal. "People of Earth," the alien said, "I am Commander Vex of the Vakari Empire. Your long peace ends today. We have come to conquer your worlds and make your people our slaves. You have 24 hours to surrender completely, or we will destroy your cities and take what we want by force." The hall fell completely silent. Then someone in the back started laughing. The laughter spread through the crowd like wildfire. Soon the entire hall was filled with the sound of humans laughing at the aliens' threats. Children giggled. Adults chuckled. Even the musicians played happy, silly music. "They want to do what?" Kim Jun asked between laughs. "Did they say they want to fight us?" "I think they're confused," Mira said, wiping tears of laughter from her eyes. "Do they think this is some kind of historical play?" Li Hyun tried to keep his face serious, but even he was fighting back a smile. The idea of war seemed so strange, so old-fashioned that it was almost funny, like someone threatening to fight with stone knives or wooden clubs. "Send them a response," he ordered. "Tell them we would be happy to meet with them for dinner and cultural exchange. Ask if they need help with their ships or if they would like to visit our museums." The communication officer, still giggling, sent the message. On the screen, Commander Vex looked confused and angry. "Did they just invite us to dinner?" he asked someone off-screen. "I think so, sir," came the reply. "Tell them again that we are here to conquer them." The second message was even more threatening than the first. Commander Vex showed images of destroyed cities and promised terrible punishment for anyone who resisted the Vakari Empire. The humans laughed even harder. "Oh, they're really committed to this performance," Yoon-hana said. "Should we tell them where they can buy better costumes?" Li Hyun finally managed to stop smiling. Something about the aliens' ships bothered him. They looked real, very real, and very dangerous, Mira, he said quietly. "Contact the outer colonies. Ask if they've seen anything unusual." While Mira made her calls, Li Hyun studied the alien fleet more carefully. The ships were massive, armed with weapons he did not recognize, and there were thousands of them. "Li," Mira's voice was now serious. "The Tau Ceti colony isn't responding to messages. Neither is the Proxima station." The laughter in the hall slowly died as people realized that Admiral Li Hyun looked worried. "Ladies and gentlemen," Li Hyun announced, his voice carrying across the suddenly quiet hall, "I think these aliens might actually be serious. For the first time in 5,000 years, humanity faced the possibility of war, and they had absolutely no idea what to do about it." 3 days after the aliens' first message, humanity was no longer laughing. The news came in pieces, each report worse than the last. The Tau Ceti colony had been destroyed completely. Proxima Station was gone. The mining facilities at Wolf 359 had simply vanished, leaving only empty space where 50,000 people used to live and work. Admiral Li Hyun sat in his office, staring at reports he never thought he would have to read. Words like casualties, enemy forces, and military response felt strange and ancient. He had to look up their meanings in historical databases. Dr. Park Mira entered his office carrying a stack of old books. Real paper books, the kind that had not been made for thousands of years. "I found these in the deepest archive levels," she said, setting them down carefully. "They're about something called warfare. I think we might need to learn about it." Li Hyun picked up one of the books. The cover was cracked and yellow with age. The title read, "The Art of War, A Beginner's Guide." He opened it and found pages filled with words he barely understood. Terms like strategy, tactics, and enemy casualties seemed to belong to a different species entirely. "Where did we even keep these?" he asked. "Level 47 of the historical archives," Mira replied, "next to books about diseases we cured and problems we solved. I had to ask the computer 3 times before it would tell me where the war section was." A message alert chimed on Li Hyun's desk. Professor Cho Daewon appeared on the screen, surrounded by dusty boxes and old equipment. His face was dirty and his usually neat clothes were covered in archive dust. "Admiral," Professor Cho said, "I need to see you immediately. I've been studying the military history files for 3 days straight, and I think I understand what we're dealing with." "Come up to my office," Li Hyun replied. Professor Cho arrived 20 minutes later, carrying a heavy box full of ancient military manuals. He was the head of the military history department, but before this week his job had been mostly ceremonial. He gave tours to school children and explained how humans used to solve problems with violence instead of talking. "Admiral," he said, setting the box down with a heavy thud, "we are in serious trouble. These aliens, the Vakari, they still practice something called total war. They don't just fight armies, they destroy everything. Cities, farms, hospitals, schools, everything." Li Hyun felt cold. "And we have no idea how to stop them?" "That's the problem," Professor Cho continued. "We've forgotten everything. Our ancestors were apparently very good at fighting, but we threw away all that knowledge when we chose peace. It's like we decided to forget how to walk because we invented flying cars." Dr. Bae Sunmi entered the office without knocking, which was unusual for her. She was normally very polite and quiet. As the head of genetic memory research, she spent most of her time studying how humans passed knowledge through their genes. "I heard what you said, Professor," she announced breathlessly, "about forgetting how to fight." You're wrong. We didn't forget. We just buried it very, very deep. She activated her portable display and showed them a complex genetic map. I've been studying human DNA samples from across the galaxy. Every single human still carries the genetic memories of our warrior ancestors. The instincts are still there, we just haven't needed them for 5,000 years. What does that mean? Li Hyun asked. It means we can remember, Dr. Bei said with excitement. With the right stimulus, the right pressure, humans can access those buried memories. We can remember how to fight. Commander Ryu Kangho entered the office at that moment. He had been working with the Peace Corps, helping settle disputes between colonies through talking and compromise. Now his face was grim, and he carried a data pad full of emergency reports. Admiral, he said, I just received word from the Outer Rim. The aliens have taken 12 more colonies. They're moving fast and they're not taking prisoners. We need to do something now. What can we do? Li Hyun asked helplessly. We don't have armies. We don't have weapons. We don't even have soldiers. Yes, we do, Commander Ryu said firmly. We have 200 billion humans spread across 200,000 worlds. We have the most advanced technology in the galaxy. We have intelligence, creativity, and determination. We just need to remember how to use these things for fighting instead of building. Professor Cho was nodding excitedly. Commander Ryu is right. I've been reading about something called military conversion. In the old days, when war started, humans would convert their peaceful industries into war industries. Factories that made cars would start making tanks. Scientists who studied plants would start studying weapons. How long would that take? Mira asked. According to these records, Professor Cho flipped through his ancient books. The fastest military conversion in human history took 6 months. But that was with primitive technology and limited resources. Dr. Bei looked thoughtful. Modern humans are much smarter than our ancestors. Our computers are faster, our manufacturing is more advanced, and our understanding of science is far superior. We might be able to do it faster. How much faster? Li Hyun asked. I don't know, she admitted. No one has ever tried to convert an advanced peaceful civilization into a military one. We would be making history. Another message alert chimed. This time it was Engineer Kim Jun, calling from the main engineering facility. Behind him, Li Hyun could see hundreds of people working frantically on projects he did not recognize. Admiral, Kim Jun said, I've been thinking about our problem. These aliens have weapons, right? So we need weapons too. I've been looking at the old military equipment in the museums, and I think we can build much better versions. How much better? Commander Ryu asked. Kim Jun grinned, the same expression he wore when he finished an impossible engineering project. Admiral, our ancestors fought wars with chemical explosives and metal bullets. We have matter conversion technology, quantum processors, and energy manipulation systems. If we apply modern technology to ancient warfare concepts, he paused, his grin getting wider, we could build weapons that our ancestors would think were magic. Li Hyun looked around his office at the assembled group. A historian, a geneticist, an engineer, a diplomat, and a former peace officer. None of them were soldiers, but they were all brilliant humans who had spent their lives solving impossible problems. How long do we have? He asked Commander Ryu. Based on their current speed, the aliens will reach the core systems in about 3 months, Ryu replied. Earth in 6 months. Then we have 6 months to remember how to be warriors, Li Hyun decided. Professor Cho, I want you to create a crash course in military history for every human in the galaxy. Dr. Bei, start working on ways to awaken our genetic memories safely. Kim Jun, begin converting our manufacturing systems for military production. Commander Ryu, start organizing our people into something that looks like an army. What about me? Mira asked. Li Hyun thought for a moment. Keep doing what you do best. Keep studying the aliens. Learn everything you can about their culture, their technology, their weaknesses. In war, information is as important as weapons. As everyone left to begin their tasks, Li Hyun sat alone in his office, holding the ancient book about warfare. He opened it to the first page and began to read words that no human had needed to understand for 5,000 years. Outside his window, he could see the lights of Earth's cities, peaceful and beautiful. But beyond those lights, moving through the darkness of space, an alien fleet was coming to destroy everything humanity had built. For the first time in 5,000 years, humanity was going to war. They just had to remember how. 6 weeks had passed since humanity began remembering how to fight, and the results were both amazing and terrifying. General Nam Taijin stood in what used to be the Museum of Ancient Warfare, but was now the central command center for humanity's first military operation in 5,000 years. The old displays of swords and shields had been replaced with holographic battle maps showing alien fleet movements. Where tourists once learned about peaceful history, military strategists now planned for war. Nam Taijin himself was still getting used to his new title. 6 weeks ago, he had been the museum's head curator, an expert on ancient battles who never expected to plan real ones. Now he wore a freshly designed military uniform and carried the responsibility of defending human civilization. "General," called Dr. Song Minji from across the command center, "the latest test results are ready." Dr. Song had been working on something she called neurological enhancement, ways to help humans access their buried warrior instincts faster and more effectively. Her research had produced some surprising discoveries about what 5,000 years of peace had done to human minds. "Show me," General Nam said. Walking over to her workstation, Dr. Song activated a holographic display showing human brain scans. "Look at this," she said excitedly. "This is a brain scan of a human from 5,000 years ago, during the final war period." The scan showed a brain with certain areas highlighted in red. These areas were active and bright, showing strong neural activity. "Now look at this," Dr. Song continued, switching to a modern brain scan. "This is a typical human brain from last month, before we started the Warrior Awakening program." The same areas that had been bright red in the ancient scan were now dim blue, barely active at all. "And this," she said, switching to a third scan, "is the same person's brain after just 4 weeks of warrior training." General Nam stared in amazement. The brain areas were not just bright red again. They were blazing white, showing far more activity than the ancient human's brain. "What does this mean?" he asked. "It means that 5,000 years of peace didn't make us weak," Dr. Song explained with excitement. "It made us stronger. Our brains developed in ways our ancestors never imagined. When we activate our warrior instincts now, we don't just remember how to fight, we become better at it than humans have ever been." Captain Oh Sung-jae entered the command center at that moment, still wearing his pilot suit. He had just returned from testing humanity's first new warship in 5,000 years. The ship had been built using ancient military designs combined with modern technology. "General," Captain Oh reported, "the test flight was successful. The ship performs exactly as designed. How does it compare to the alien vessels?" General Nam asked. Captain Oh grinned. "It's slower, has weaker weapons and less armor than their ships." General Nam frowned. "That doesn't sound successful." "That's because it's supposed to be weaker," Captain O explained. "We built it to look primitive and harmless. The aliens are watching our test through their spy satellites. We want them to think our technology is 5,000 years behind theirs. This was part of humanity's strategy. Let the aliens think that peaceful humans had become weak and stupid. Let them believe that human weapons were primitive and ineffective. Meanwhile, the real work was happening in secret." Dr. Song pulled up another display, this one showing manufacturing statistics. "General, you need to see this. Our production numbers are incredible." The display showed numbers that seemed impossible. Humans were building ships, weapons, and equipment at a rate that should have been mathematically impossible. Factories that had been making art supplies were now producing military gear. Research stations that had been studying flowers were now designing weapons. "How are we building so much so fast?" General Nam asked. "It's the creativity factor," Dr. Song explained. 5,000 years of peace gave humans unlimited time to develop their creative and problem-solving abilities. When we apply that creativity to military problems, we solve them faster than anyone ever has before. She showed him examples. Humans had designed new types of armor in 3 days. They had created communication systems in a week that were better than anything that had existed during the final war. They had solved engineering problems in hours that had taken their ancestors months. "We're not just remembering how to fight," Dr. Song continued. "We're inventing entirely new ways to fight." An alert signal sounded through the command center. Captain Yoon Hana appeared on the main display screen, calling in from her exploration ship at the edge of human space. "General," she reported, "I have visual confirmation on the main alien fleet. They're larger than we expected." The screen switched to show Captain Yoon's view of the alien armada. General Nam felt his heart sink. There were thousands of ships, each one massive and bristling with weapons. The fleet stretched across space like a dark cloud, blotting out the stars. How long until they reach the core systems? He asked. At their current speed, about 6 weeks, Captain Yoon replied. General, there's something else. They're not just coming to conquer us. They're planning to wipe us out completely. I intercepted some of their communications. They want to remove humans from the galaxy entirely. The command center fell silent. Everyone had known the war would be difficult, but complete extinction was worse than anyone had imagined. Have they detected your ship? General Nam asked. No, sir, Captain Yoon replied. My ship looks like a simple exploration vessel. They think I'm just a peaceful scientist studying stars, which was exactly what she had been 6 weeks ago. General Nam turned to address everyone in the command center. Ladies and gentlemen, we now know what we're facing. An enemy that wants to destroy us completely, with enough firepower to do it. He paused, looking at the faces around him. 6 weeks ago, these people had been museum workers, scientists, artists, and engineers. Now they were humanity's military command staff. Dr. Song, he continued, how many humans have completed the Warrior Awakening program? About 2 million so far, she replied. But the number is growing exponentially. Humans are sharing the awakening techniques faster than we can track them. Production status? We've built approximately 500 ships using the primitive design, reported a manufacturing coordinator. The aliens think that's our entire fleet. General Nam smiled for the first time in weeks. And our real fleet? That's classified, the coordinator replied with a matching smile. But let's just say the aliens are going to be very surprised. Captain O, General Nam ordered, I want you to take one of our primitive ships and accidentally let the aliens see it. Make sure they think it's the best we can do. Yes, sir, Captain O replied eagerly. Captain Yoon, continue monitoring the alien fleet. Let them think you're just a harmless explorer. Understood, General. General Nam looked out the command center's main window at Earth below. The planet looked peaceful and beautiful, with no sign of the massive preparations happening across its surface. Hidden underground, humans were building weapons that would have seemed like magic to their ancestors. In secret facilities, they were training armies using techniques that had never existed before. The aliens thought they were attacking a weak, peaceful civilization that had forgotten how to fight. They were about to discover that humanity hadn't forgotten how to fight. They had learned how to fight better than anyone ever had before. And unlike their ancestors, who had fought for territory or resources or pride, these humans would be fighting for something much more powerful, the survival of everything they loved. The sleeping giant was awake, and it was very, very angry. Tech specialist Lim Woo-jin stood in his laboratory, staring at something that should not exist. The device on his workbench was small, about the size of a book, but according to his calculations, it contained enough destructive power to vaporize a moon. Computer, he said aloud, run the safety simulation again. Simulation complete, the computer replied in its calm voice. The device will function exactly as designed. Warning, this technology violates 23 known laws of physics. Lim Woo-jin laughed. That's what makes it so beautiful. This was the difference between ancient human warriors and modern ones. Ancient humans were limited by the technology of their time. They fought with metal weapons and chemical explosives because that was all they had. Modern humans fought with reimagined physics and redesigned reality. Dr. Kang Yoo-jin entered the laboratory carrying her own impossible creation. She was a theoretical physicist who had spent her career studying things that existed only in mathematics. Now she was turning those mathematical concepts into weapons. Woo-jin, she said excitedly, wait until you see what I built today. She set her device on the workbench next to his. It looked like a simple metal sphere, but Lim Woo-jin could feel strange energy radiating from it. What does it do? He asked. It creates localized space-time distortions, Dr. Kang explained casually, as if she were talking about making coffee. Point it at an enemy ship, activate it, and the ship experiences time differently than the space around it. From the ship's perspective, everything else in the universe speeds up by a factor of 1,000,000. Lim Woo-jin stared at her. That's not possible. I know, she replied with a grin. That's what makes it work so well. Fleet Admiral Jung Bo-young walked into the laboratory at that moment, followed by a group of officers who looked both excited and terrified. Jung Bo-young had been promoted to Fleet Admiral 3 weeks ago, when humanity realized they needed someone to command their secret armada. Show me what you've built, she ordered without introduction. Lim Wu-jin picked up his device. This is a quantum cascade disruptor. It targets the quantum bonds that hold matter together and convinces them to stop holding. What does that mean in simple terms? Admiral Jung asked. Point it at something, press the button, and that something stops being made of atoms, Lim Wu-jin explained. It doesn't explode or burn. It just stops existing. One of the officers made a worried sound. Is that safe? Completely safe, Lim Wu-jin assured him. As long as you don't point it at anything you want to keep existing. Dr. Kang demonstrated her time distortion device using a small test object. They watched as a metal ball was placed in the device's field, and immediately began moving so slowly it appeared frozen, while everything around it continued at normal speed. How long will it stay like that? Admiral Jung asked. From our perspective, about 10 minutes, Dr. Kang replied. From the ball's perspective, about 3 years. Admiral Jung was quiet for a long moment, studying the devices. Finally, she spoke. How many of these can you build? How many do you need? Lim Wu-jin asked. Enough to equip our entire fleet. When do you need them? 2 weeks. Lim Wu-jin and Dr. Kang looked at each other, then burst into laughter. Admiral, Dr. Kang said, 2 weeks ago these devices were just theoretical concepts. We built working prototypes in 48 hours. Mass production should be easy. This was becoming typical of humanity's war preparation. Problems that should have taken years to solve were being completed in days. Weapons that should have been impossible to build were rolling off production lines. An alert chimed on Admiral Jung's communication device. She answered it immediately. Admiral, came the voice of Captain Oh Seung-jae. I'm ready to begin the demonstration for our alien observers. Proceed, Admiral Jung ordered. On the laboratory's main screen, they could see Captain Oh's ship approaching an asteroid field. The ship looked primitive and clumsy compared to the sleek alien vessels that were watching from a safe distance. This was intentional. Beginning weapons test, Captain Oh announced over the radio. His ship fired what appeared to be simple laser weapons at the asteroids. The lasers hit their targets and created small explosions, destroying chunks of rock in spectacular but unimpressive displays. Weapons test complete, Captain Oh reported. Our most powerful weapons have successfully destroyed several small asteroids. Through their spy satellites, the aliens watched this demonstration and saw exactly what humanity wanted them to see. Weak weapons, slow ships, and primitive technology. What the aliens could not see was the real test happening in a different part of the solar system. Admiral Jung switched the screen to show the real weapons demonstration. Another human ship, this one hidden from alien observers, was approaching a much larger asteroid, one the size of a city. Fire the quantum cascade disruptor, Admiral Jung ordered. The ship fired Lim Wu-jin's device. There was no bright flash, no explosion, no spectacular light show. The asteroid simply ceased to exist. One moment it was there, solid and massive. The next moment there was only empty space. Target eliminated, reported the ship's captain. No debris, no energy signature, no trace that had ever existed. Dr. Kang's demonstration was next. A different ship approached another large asteroid and fired the time distortion weapon. From the watching human's perspective, the asteroid suddenly stopped moving, stopped rotating, and became perfectly still in space. Time dilation field established, the captain reported. Target is now experiencing time at a rate of 1 second per day. It will remain frozen for approximately 6 months. Admiral Jung smiled grimly. Excellent. Now show me the production numbers. The screen switched to manufacturing reports. Humanity was building weapons at an incredible rate. Factories across 200,000 star systems were working constantly, producing devices that rewrote the rules of warfare. But the most impressive numbers weren't about weapons or ships. They were about people. Admiral, reported Dr. Song Minji via communication link, we now have 50 million humans who have completed the Warrior Awakening program. But there's something else you need to know. What is it? The awakening is spreading faster than we expected. Humans are naturally sharing the techniques with each other. Parents are teaching their children. Teachers are training their students. It's becoming automatic. Dr. Song paused, and when she spoke again, her voice was filled with amazement. Admiral, I think every human in the galaxy is going to become a warrior, whether we plan it or not. It's like we're all remembering something we never knew we had forgotten. Admiral Jung turned back to Lim Wu-jin and Dr. Kang. How many more impossible weapons can you create? How much time do we have? Lim Wujin asked. The alien fleet will be here in 4 weeks. Then we'll have 4 weeks' worth of impossible weapons, Dr. Kang replied. Each one more impossible than the last. Admiral Jung nodded approvingly. Good, because I want the aliens to be very, very surprised when they arrive. On the screen, Captain O's ship was finishing its fake demonstration, showing the aliens exactly what they expected to see. Primitive human technology that posed no real threat. Meanwhile, hidden across human space, factories were producing weapons that violated physics, ships that moved through folded space, and defense systems that could turn reality inside out. The aliens thought they were coming to conquer a weak, peaceful species. Instead, they were about to encounter humanity at its most creative, most innovative, and most dangerous. And humans, it turned out, were very good at being dangerous when they needed to be. The only question was whether the aliens would survive long enough to realize their mistake. Strategic AI Sejong processed 5,000 years of human innovation in 0.3 seconds and came to a conclusion that would have terrified the aliens if they had known about it. Humans were not just good at war. They were the best at war that anyone had ever been. Commander Han Jiwon stood in the AI control center, watching as Sejong analyzed every battle humans had ever fought, every strategy they had ever used, and every innovation they had ever created. The AI had been named after the ancient Korean king who had revolutionized his people through intelligence and creativity. Sejong, Commander Han said, show me your analysis of our enemy. The AI's holographic display activated, showing detailed information about the Vakari Empire, images of their ships, their weapons, their battle tactics, and their military history filled the air around them. The Vakari Empire has conquered 47 different species over the past 2,000 years, Sejong reported in its calm, precise voice. They use overwhelming force, brutal tactics, and complete destruction of enemy cultures. They are effective but predictable. Predictable how? Commander Han asked. They follow the same pattern in every conquest, Sejong explained. First, they demand surrender. Second, they destroy a few targets to demonstrate power. Third, they launch a massive frontal assault. Fourth, they occupy the defeated territory and eliminate the local population. Dr. Moon Kyung-soo entered the control center at that moment, carrying reports from his research into what he called the warrior awakening. As humanity's first military psychologist in 5,000 years, he had been studying what happened to human minds when they rediscovered their fighting instincts. Commander, Dr. Moon said urgently, you need to see this. The psychological transformation is happening faster than we expected. He activated his own display, showing brain scans and psychological profiles of humans across the galaxy. Look at these numbers, he said. 3 weeks ago, most humans had no idea how to think about warfare. Today, 200 million humans are showing advanced strategic thinking, tactical innovation, and combat psychology. They're not just learning to fight. They're becoming natural military geniuses. Sejong's analysis updated with Dr. Moon's data. Fascinating, the AI commented. Based on this psychological transformation, I calculate that humanity's current military potential is approximately 847 times greater than the Vakari Empire expects. How is that possible? Commander Han asked. The Vakari Empire assumes that peaceful species become weak and stupid, Sejong explained. They have never encountered a species that became more intelligent and creative during peacetime. They are preparing to fight the humans of 5,000 years ago, not the humans of today. An alert signal sounded through the control center. Captain Yoon Hana appeared on the main screen, calling in from her position near the alien fleet. Commander, she reported, the aliens have started their final approach. They'll reach our outer defenses in 72 hours. What's their formation? Commander Han asked. Standard Vakari battle formation, Captain Yoon replied. Massive ships in the front, smaller ships behind, command vessels in the center. Exactly what Sejong predicted they would use. Commander Han smiled. The aliens were so predictable that humanity's AI had been able to plan counters to their tactics before the battle even began. Captain, Commander Han ordered, begin implementing Sejong's Strategy 7. Yes, sir, Captain Yoon replied. Activating the Confused Harmless Humans Protocol. Across human space, the plan went into action. To the aliens' observation systems, it looked like humanity was panicking. Human ships appeared to be running around randomly, sending confused messages, and failing to organize any coherent defense. Some human vessels even sent messages to the aliens, begging for mercy and offering to surrender. Other ships appeared to be fleeing in terror, heading away from the advancing alien fleet as fast as they could travel. The aliens saw exactly what they expected to see: a weak, peaceful species that had no idea how to fight. What they could not see was the real human fleet, hidden using technology that made them invisible to alien sensors. While the aliens watched fake panicking humans, the real human military was moving into position using tactics that had never been tried before. "Sejong," Commander Han said. "Begin Phase 2. The AI's calculations shifted to a new configuration. Phase 2 initiated. Recommended action: let the aliens think they are winning." Admiral Jung Boyoung entered the control center at that moment, wearing her full military uniform and carrying reports from across human space. "Commander," she announced, "all fleets are in position. Our ships are equipped with the new impossible weapons. Our crews have completed the warrior awakening, and our strategies have been tested and refined." "How many ships do we have?" Commander Han asked. "That's classified," Admiral Jung replied with a grin. "But let's just say we built a few more than the aliens think we did." Dr. Moon looked up from his psychological reports. "Admiral, there's something else you should know. The warrior awakening isn't just affecting our military personnel. It's affecting every human in the galaxy." "What do you mean?" "I mean that children on peaceful farming worlds are suddenly understanding military tactics. Artists are creating sculptures that double as weapon designs. Scientists studying flowers are accidentally discovering new explosive compounds. Every human is becoming part of our military capacity, whether they realize it or not." Sejong processed this new information and updated its calculations. "Interesting," the AI commented. "Based on Dr. Moon's data, humanity's effective military strength is not limited to your official military forces. Your entire species has become a single, galaxy-spanning military organism." Commander Han felt a chill. "Is that a good thing or a bad thing?" "For humanity, it is excellent," Sejong replied. "For the Valkyrie Empire, it is catastrophic." The main screen switched to show the alien fleet's approach. Thousands of massive warships were moving toward human space, in a formation that had conquered 47 different species. Their weapons were charged, their shields were active, and their crews were confident of easy victory. "They have no idea what they're about to encounter," Admiral Jung observed. "Should I feel sorry for them?" Commander Han asked. Dr. Moon considered the question seriously. "Commander, based on my psychological analysis, the aliens have committed genocide against billions of innocent beings. They have destroyed entire civilizations. They have caused suffering on a scale that's difficult to imagine." He paused, looking at the approaching alien fleet. "I don't think we should feel sorry for them. I think we should feel sorry for any other species that might have to face them after we're done." Sejong's analysis updated one final time. "All systems ready. All personnel in position. All strategies confirmed. Humanity is prepared for war. What are our chances of victory?" Commander Han asked. "Commander," Sejong replied, "based on my analysis of human capability, Valkyrie tactics, and the psychological transformation of your species, I calculate humanity's chances of victory at 99.7%. And the remaining 0.3%? That represents the possibility that humanity might accidentally destroy the entire Valkyrie fleet so quickly that we don't have time to study their technology properly." Commander Han, Admiral Jung, and Dr. Moon looked at each other, then burst into laughter. Outside, the alien fleet continued its approach, confident that they were about to conquer another weak, peaceful species. They had no way of knowing that they were actually approaching the most dangerous military force that had ever existed in the galaxy. And that force was about to teach them why humanity had chosen peace 5,000 years ago, not because they were weak, but because they were too powerful to be allowed to fight. The lesson was about to begin.